I'm going to show you how to manage website folders, files on a hosted website using a free file manager that you can download. So the first thing we want to look at is, what do you get when you've signed up for web hosting? So now you have a website and you go to what should be your home page and you see something like this. Now, it'll be different depending on who your hosting company is. This hosting company has this, but this is where you want your home page to be, because this is the top of my site. It's the domain name, so it's something.com or something.org, and this is where you want your home page to be. So the first thing that you're going to do to get your files up here is you're going to download a free program called FileZilla to manage your files. This is an easy way for a beginner or an amateur to upload files and manage, replace files on your web server. Now, when you go to FileZillaProject.org, you come to this site, right? You come to this page, and you might think you want to go to this download FileZilla client and then you get this page. No, don't download from here. Go to show additional download options and pick either your Mac OS or your Windows, the setup one, and there's also a Linux version, okay? So you download it, you uncompress it, and then if you're on a Mac, you put it into your applications folder, and I've already got it, so I'm not going to go through that. In my applications, you can see I have FileZilla already. But if you don't have it, you're going to go to the site, download it, install it, and on a Mac, make sure that you have put it in your applications folder. On Windows, make sure it's in your programs folder. Don't leave it on your desktop. Don't leave it in downloads. Make sure it's in the correct place, okay? So I'm going to open it up and show you how to configure it for your hosting company or your hosted website. So I can go into my applications and I can double click the FileZilla icon now. Now, yours is going to probably look a little different. Maybe, you want to grab this and make it a little smaller or larger. All the parts that you can see here are adjustable, and I may have adjusted mine a little bit differently from what you see when you first open it up. What you want to do when you haven't ever set up your hosted website before in a file manager, such as FileZilla, is you want to set it up with your username and password that allow you to log in to that hosted, it's the FTP site that you're going to send files back and forth with. So in FileZilla, now, this is a Mac. I usually use this icon in the upper left-hand corner to open the site manager. I'm going to close that, though, and show you it is also on a menu. It's on the File menu on a Mac. Probably in Windows, it's probably also on the File menu. So if you want to open it from a menu, the Site Manager. I'm going to close it one more time. But this little icon, upper left all the way over, open the Site Manager, that's what I usually use. Now, you won't have anything listed under my sites. I already have 3 different hosted sites set up, okay? But you, doing this for the first time, you're going to click this button, New Site. And when you've done that, you're going to see a new box into which you can type the name of your site. Now, for some of mine, I type my username. For some of mine, I type the name of the hosting company. For this, I'm going to delete this later because I already have mine set up, but I will put name my site here, right? And then click return, and that's going to be this is going to be how you connect to your hosted web server. okay, in the future. Now, in order to make it work, you've got to fill in some stuff. So you're going to put in your host name. So that is domain something something name of your site .com or .org or whatever your top level domain is, right? So for host, no HTTP, no nothing like that. Just the name and then and then whatever your top level domain is. Here you may have instructions from your hosting company to change this, but I go with the default, use explicit FTP over TLS. If available, that usually works. Log on type normal usually works. User, you're going to put in the username for FTP to your website. Note that this is probably not the same username as your account at the hosted website, okay? So you're going to have to read the email that they sent you when you signed up and find out what is the username for FTP. And the same thing with the password. What is the password for FTP? Not the account overall where you pay your bills, but the FTP password, right? And if you ever change the FTP password, you'll have to change it in FileZilla. Now, when you've put all that in, you can connect for the first time, and this site manager will save your information. So I'm going to go into one of mine that I've already got set up, invalid data. So I'm going to delete my fake site, delete, because I didn't fill everything in. Yes. Okay, so I've got a real site set up with my username, my, everything, and I'm just going to say connect because it's saved for me from the last time I logged in. And unknown certificate. It often says this with hosted websites. I don't know why, but just say okay. And this right-hand side will fill in if you have connected correctly, okay? And some stuff will be written up here, like directory, successful, great, wonderful. And if you see stuff in this window and in, whoops, I made a mistake there, and in this window, you're connected, okay? So the stuff on the left-hand side is your local site. So I could see my desktop, I could see my documents, I could see my downloads. I'm going to go to my documents because I have website files in there. Over here, you don't want to put files at the top level of your hosted site. You want to find whatever the folder is that they told you in that email they sent you when you signed up for web hosting. They said, this is the folder that you use for your website. On most modern hosted sites, that folder is named public_HTML. So I've highlighted that right now. You have to go inside that, inside. And there is some junk already in there. Why is there junk in there? Well, there's junk in there because this page exists. So this page is already on your website, and what is causing it to be there? Well, these files that are already there, in FileZilla. These files that are already there are what are causing that page to be there. So now you want something else to be there instead. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how I built my pages, but I'm going to show you that these pages already exist, or my one page, my home page. My home page already exists. It is in a folder called Namecheap. It is an index.html file. And I am going to open this up in Atom, which is my code editor that I use. So I'm going to open a new window in Atom. And just for the purpose of showing you my files. And I am going to drag my Namecheap folder. So this is my folder for my new hosted website. And so I've got an index file. This will be my home page, all right? It's going to say Weimer Coders at the top. It's going to have a little paragraph. It's going to have an image of Albert Alligator, the UF mascot. I've got a JavaScript file. I've got an images file that has the Albert image inside it. I've got a CSS file. So these are all going to be at the top level of my public underscore HTML folder at my hosted site. That's how I'm going to replace my homepage. So I'm just showing these to you in atoms so that you can see their regular CSS and HTML files, and they are arranged in the normal order of, those files and folders. So what do I do in FileZilla? I already went into public HTML on the right-hand side, which is the remote, the hosted website. This is where I want to put my new files, okay, to change my new website. How do I get the files that I already have on my own hard drive? Well, I'm going to tree down into where they are. So they are in Documents. And inside Documents, I have a folder named WebWork. And inside WebWork, I have a folder named Namecheap. And these are the files that you were just looking at, okay? So I'm going to actually upload all of these, except for this one, which is a Macintosh system file that you don't need ever on a web server. I'm going to select them using Command and mouse click. And then I am going to drag them carefully until I see that green plus sign, a circle that's green with a white plus sign in the middle. When I have dragged over, I'm still holding down the mouse button, so I haven't let go yet. When you see that green plus sign, you're good to go. And make sure that you are dropping these files in the place on the server where you want them to be. And I know I am in public underscore HTML, so that's the right place. So I'm not going to drop them inside some other folder. No. I'm going to drop them in this white blank area. So now I let go of the mouse button. And some things happen at the top, some things happen at the bottom, and then files are in place. So you can see my index.html file is here, my fave icon is here, my CSS folder, my images folder, my JavaScript folder. They are all in here at the top level of public HTML. Never change the name of that, okay? So what happens if I go and reload my domain name in the browser? So this is where I was. I am just going to press the reload button on the browser and see what happens. Ta-da! There's my new homepage. Now, it's really not much of a homepage, but now my homepage is up there. And what if I wanted to edit something on that page? What if I wanted to say, oh, well, I really would like that phrase, Go Gators, on that page to be bold, because Go Gators, right? So I will go into my text editor. I will go into that file. I will copy a strong tag because I already have one. I will paste. And I can test this in my browser locally, right? Like any web page. I can look in my Finder and open it up locally, right? So when you're local, look at that address bar, users, and McAdams, documents, WebWork, Namecheap, index. Now I'm local, right? But now this is bold, okay? On the host, it's still not bold because I haven't uploaded it yet. Every time you make a change locally, you will have to upload it using FileZilla to replace the file with the old information, replace it with the new one. So the way we do that, it is easy as pie. I don't have to reload everything. I only changed this page, right? So I'm going to drag just that one page and make sure that I'm not dropping it in a folder by accident. Let go. And it's going to ask me, do I want to overwrite a file that already exists? And I never eliminate this. I always want it to ask me because I don't want to make a terrible mistake, right? But it says overwrite. I'm just going to say okay. And it does its little stuff and it says successful. And now I am at my domain on the host. I'm going to reload and pay attention to this right here. When I reload, it should become bold. And it did because my new file is uploaded. Now, there's one last thing I want to cover in this video. And that is after you've put up a home page and your home page is talking to your CSS folder and your images folder and possibly your JavaScript folder. But what about a separate project? And I'm teaching classes and students do entirely different projects throughout the semester. So one project should be self-contained. And the next project should also be separately self-contained. So how do we do that? Well, we put all the work for project A into a folder by itself, and it doesn't interfere with our other files. When we go to project B or project 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, that the next project is in its own folder separately. So I have a little fake, nothing folder set up on my hard drive that is, it's not really a project, but it's a folder that contains all the files that you would have in some web project. So I'm going to find that. It's in my documents, it's in my web work, it's in another folder, and I am gonna, it's right here, it's project, and I'm gonna copy it into my Namecheap folder. So here is Namecheap. This is the folder containing everything for my brand new hosted website that's called Weimer Coders. I am going to paste that project folder into this folder that contains my whole website. So I'm going to paste that project folder. It is named project. Obviously, yours could be named something more specific. If you had a, dog care project, then your folder might be named dog care, right? So what's in that folder? There is a CSS folder and an images folder and an index.html and a JavaScript folder. So this is an important thing I want you to recognize, that within the project folder, any project folder, I could have 10 different separate project folders in my Namecheap site, okay? But I can replicate the same file name, the same folder names that I have outside, and they don't interfere because they're inside, they are enclosed, they are wrapped and bundled and segregated within their own separate folder. So this is an important thing to understand about managing your website. So now that I've got that, I'm going to look at FileZilla and I say, wait a minute, I'm in Namecheap. Where's my project folder? I don't see it. Well, it's here in my Finder. Why isn't it here? Because you have to refresh this local pane on the left side. So the easiest way to refresh it is to right-click and say refresh. And it'll just take a second and now it's there, right? Now, if we look inside, we can see, oh yeah, there's an index.html and a blah, 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 blah. But we don't want to upload those separately this time. We do not want to upload these things separately because they're part of a project. So what we want to do is go up one level where we can see the named project folder. And what we want to do to upload that project using FileZilla, to upload that project to our hosted website, is we want to drag and drop the entire folder as one single piece. And once again, we are being careful not to drop it into any other folder. We're going to drop it into a blank area. So I'm about to let go of my mouse. And some things happen. It takes a little longer this time. You see stuff scrolling around at the top there. And then eventually your project folder is there. And all the stuff that was in it is in it. And because this DS store is a Mac file that your server doesn't need, you can right-click and delete that file, but you don't have to. It's a very small file. You don't have to, but I will just delete it to show you that you can. And to go back to the top level of the site, you can click public.html up here, or if you were down inside project, you could also double click the folder that has two little dots. That means go up one level. So whenever you're at public.html, you are seeing the top level of your website. So to prove to you that my home page did not change when I uploaded my project, I will reload. And my home page has not changed. Well, how am I going to look at my project if my home page hasn't changed? What is the URL? What is the path toward my project? Project is a folder name. To reach a folder name on a website, you go up to your address bar, you put a slash after your domain name, and you type the name of that folder. And if you've got an index.html in there, as I do, then that index.html is what you're going to see. So you have not replaced your home page. Your home page is still there, intact, and should introduce, say, the whole website. But your separate projects, which can have many, many different names that are appropriate to them, they can be in named folders, and then the URL to each project is domainname.com or .org or whatever, domainname.com / and then the folder name. Make sure that these folder names do not have any spaces or punctuation in the folder name. You can use an underscore or a hyphen, but it's better not to. All lowercase is better than mixed case. So this one is named project. If I had an app or a project that was named dog care, I might name that dog_care. I might name it dog-care, but I would not use a space. So I hope this has taught you how to use FileZilla, how to manage your website. And once you've finished with FileZilla, you can use this icon with the red X to disconnect from the server that you're connected to right now, the hosting site. Or you can use the server menu and pick disconnect, which is what I'm going to do. Then to exit FileZilla, just like anything, you can command quit or command Q, control Q, or use the file menu to quit FileZilla.